All right, everyone. Hello and welcome in. So the topic of discussion right now in Minnesota Vikings land has been the defense with the announcement officially of Brian Flores as the new defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings going into the season. They had their press conference this week. Now that the Super Bowl is over, the season is done. They are free to do what they wish with their announcements, if you will. I'm not sure why we always got to wait to make sure we don't steal the spotlight from the big game, but that's the way that this league operates for some reason. So right now, everybody's posting pieces, videos, reactions to the Brian Flores press conference, breaking that down. And I'm going to go against the grain today. I'm not going to talk about that or the defense in general because I think everybody else that creates Minnesota Vikings content is doing a more than adequate job of, covering that specific thing. And I really have nothing to add. The best I could probably say is that I think it sounds like he's the right candidate for the job. It's very, and this kind of goes back to the whole introductory press conferences for both Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell last year. It's very easy to win those. It's very, very easy as a new hire to come in and make a good first impression because the floor is yours. And everybody's excited about something new. So I'm going to refrain from just adding on content that I think is already widely available. And today I'm going to focus on the offense because this is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now, and I just haven't found the right time for it. And I guess today would be the day. So today I want to talk about the offense, and I want to talk about Dalvin Cook specifically because if you have followed me for any length of time since I've been making content here on YouTube, you know that I not only subscribe to the running backs don't matter cult, I manufacture the Kool-Aid. I make sure that the Kool-Aid is strong enough to convince other people to hop on board this crazy cult, to convince others that running backs are not that important. And if you look at the Super Bowl that just got played between the Chiefs and the Eagles, your starting running backs for the big game this year were Isaiah Pacheco, a 7th-round pick, and Miles Sanders, a 2nd-round pick. Miles Sanders is somebody who, up until this point, hasn't had the most notable career, if I could argue that. Eagles fans would probably tell me otherwise. And Isaiah Pacheco was a real diamond in the rough that they were able to bring into this offense. And it's all about good scouting. That's how you find players like that. So for Dalvin Cook, somebody who was a 2nd-round pick when he was drafted, you could argue that, that's great use of resources. But with the second contract that he received, you kind of shot yourself in the foot with that because right now he is scheduled to make this season the 6th most amount of money on the team, according to overthecap.com. And that's just too much for a running back. $14 million for Dalvin Cook, who is very special. I will give him that. He's been effective in both the running game and the passing game. And in the modern era of the league that we're in now, that's something that you basically got to be able to do. You have to be able to excel at all assets of the game and pass blocking as well. Otherwise, you're not going to get in there on 3rd down. So Dalvin Cook has been, an integral part of the offense for many years, more so during the Mike Zimmer era than I would say under the first season of Kevin O'Connell. Because if you look at the statistics, Dalvin Cook was just kind of along for the ride for the first year of Kevin O'Connell in this new offense because everything ran through Justin Jefferson. Then they added TJ Hawkinson later in the season, still trying to sprinkle the ball to Adam Thielen, getting KJ Osborne involved. So Dalvin Cook suddenly becomes not the focal point of the offense, but just a part of the offense. And I think gone are the days of the Gary Kubiak style offense running things through Dalvin Cook, using the run to establish the pass, whatever you want to call it, because that's just not the mentality that this organization is moving forward with in terms of offensive philosophy. And this is a discussion that we all knew was coming. It was going to eventually be an issue for Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings to continue this relationship that they got going just because of the cap hit and the fact that, and I don't want to be negative, but he is approaching the 30-year benchmark for running backs where things start to dwindle down. And we're talking about a player already that has had a very difficult time playing healthy. And if you were looking at the stat graphic that I flashed on the screen earlier, you would have noticed that this season was the only season he's played in full season, 17 games, right? So there's the injury history to be concerned with. There is his likelihood of his skill set starting to diminish if it hasn't already. There was a point this season, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe it was just me that noticed this, but there was a point this season on Vikings social media where fans had it out for this guy. Like, they were like, this dude is washed. He is not contributing in the way that he has before. to which a point I would agree with. And they were ready to just oust him, just like trade him for a bag of stale Doritos. Let's go, because this is not working anymore. And maybe they're right. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below about that situation. But as it stands, I am of the belief that you cannot pay a running back as much as we're paying Dalvin Cook and be successful. We've had all kinds of talks and conversations about the whole Kirk Cousins thing and the quarterbacks and making 15% of the cap and yada, yada, yada. And that is, that is a valid argument. I think it's more of a valid argument. I think something that we could probably come together on and talk about the state of how much we're paying our backfield to just one player. I know it's an unreasonable amount, that $14 million. I totally agree with you, Mr. Executive Producer. So I think we're coming to a headway this offseason. I don't know if you could trade him to a running back needy team. And if I'm a GM of an NFL franchise, I'm not looking to trade for a soon-to-be 28, 29-year-old running back with an injury history who is steadily declining in terms of statistical performance. I'm just not. Maybe he fits in a different offense somewhere else better that will utilize his talents in a different way, reimagining him as the focal point of the offense. But for me, in the Minnesota Vikings, as much as I've enjoyed Dalvin Cook's time in Minnesota, I think that time might be up. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is this reworkable? Can we restructure? Can we do something different? Do you want to see Dalvin Cook for another year? I think they might keep him for one more season, and then they'll be able to cut him next year and save a significant amount of cap space. I think upwards in the $12 million range, and only be on the hook for $3 million in dead money. That makes more sense. It determines whether or not they want to run it back this year, or if they actually want to start looking beyond their roster for help, because I think Alexander Mattison is a free agent this year. And then after that, I think we have Ty Chandler, who has been interesting in small doses, but who knows what his capabilities are with a full workload. So that's going to do it for me today. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.